Well, certainly at the outset of the crisis, there was a great deal of international economic diplomacy because the United States understood that while the U.S. was the epicenter of the crisis, it affected everyone, and other countries had various internal challenges in meeting the problems that they incurred as a result of the crisis. And we also wanted to get the system to work together. So as a result, there was a lot of cooperation, for instance, between the United States and China. China played a very constructive, major role in helping to overcome the crisis with its stimulus and cooperation with the U.S. and Europe and dealing with a lot of these issues. The U.S. and Europe clearly worked together. Europe suffered from a major set of problems because the financial system is so interrelated. So how we and they got out of this crisis really injected a note of urgency in international economic diplomacy that it hadn't actually had for several years. In addition to that, there were structural changes. The Group of 20, which had just been, up until that period, a group of finance ministers of the top 20 economies, or close to the top 20, became head of state groups. So heads of state sat down, met with one another, which covered a whole range of economic and financial issues, but they also began to deal with a broader set of diplomatic issues as well. It's still primarily focused on economic issues, but there's also a foreign policy agenda of limited nature in the Group of 20. So it changed the way countries work together with a greater degree of urgency on economic diplomacy, but it also sort of broadened the scope of international collaboration to include the G20 countries at a head of state level working together. So it did both of those things. But it also, I think, helped people understand how directly interrelated economies were, and that you needed to have a far more engaged diplomatic process on trade, on investment, on financial issues, and a wide range of other issues, and therefore State departments and treasuries and other ministries began to work together to craft a broader diplomatic agenda for all countries to